Hi, my name is Kay Ross and today I'm going to talk to you about presenting. Now, if you're like most people, you dread getting up in front of an audience or in front of a camera. And I know what that's like. I can remember back to the first time I had to stand in front of a group. And I had prepared, it was a 2-hour talk on, would you believe, the history of nursing, something that's not close to my heart, but that's okay. So 2 hours history of nursing to a brand new group of nurses. So I thought, I can do this. So I walked down the corridor with a friend of mine and I literally had a pile of notes that big, just in case I forgot something or I needed extra something. Now this is back in the days before PowerPoint, so I'm talking about the dark ages. Anyway, I get to the classroom and it's one of those rooms with a door up the back. And I looked in and there's 64 student nurses sitting there with their backs to me because they're all looking at the front of the classroom waiting for me. And I turned to my friend and I said, I've changed my mind. I don't want to do this. And do you know what her response was? It wasn't, oh, okay, it'll be okay. Her response was, push me into the classroom, lock the door. And all the students turned around to look at me, look at this strange woman walking in front of them with all these notes. And I was so scared that I dropped the whole lot. So I basically had 2 hours of notes all over the classroom. And I'm scrabbling on the floor trying to pick them up. And I also had my overhead slides. Now, for those of you who are old enough to remember, before PowerPoint, we had overhead projectors. And I was picking up the overhead slides and I was so nervous that I sweated all over them and they started running, so I couldn't even use the slides. So there I am and I'm thinking, whose idea was this? Why am I here? I can't do it. But I had 64 people waiting for me and I had a locked door. So I went to the front of the classroom and I thought, what do I do? Now, luckily, I had a brainwave. Well, hopefully it was a brainwave. And I remember that Florence Nightingale, and I'm sure you've all heard of Florence Nightingale, the leader of nursing, and she took 64 women out of the poorhouse to the Crimean War to work as nurses. They had no training. So I started talking to them about the fact, what would it be like if we got a phone call right now that said we all have to go down to a major disaster and start working as nurses? What would your reaction be like? And they all were freaking out. And so we talked about that. So somehow I got through the 2 hours. And looking back on that, I think it was a baptism of fire into presenting. But I also really loved getting up in front of those people. So I got over my fear just by opening my mouth and starting to talk. Now, over the years, I've presented at many different places, in many different opportunities, talked to people both online and in conferences, etc. And people have asked me, so how do you do it? And the biggest thing I can tell you is to prepare and plan. You cannot plan too much. So research a topic, know as much as you can about it, and practice. Practice in front of a camera, practice in front of a group of people, take feedback. I know the first time I had somebody giving me feedback about how my presentation went, they said it was way too fast. In fact, they said 100 words a minute is way too fast. And so I know that when I get nervous, I talk really fast. So when I have my notes with me, I keep writing on them, stop, breathe in my notes, so that reminds me to take that breath. So that was a good point for me. Now, the other thing I just wanted to spend a couple of moments on is talking about what doesn't work. And I have been in front of, I've been in audiences where people just have not done the work. They haven't prepared, they haven't planned. And in fact, I've been in some that have been so bad, I almost feel like walking out. Some of the things that people do. Have you ever been in a group where somebody walks in and they say to you, hello, my name is so-and-so, and I'm here to talk to you about bees. And then they say to you, but I'm not quite sure why you need to know about bees. But anyway, I've been told to talk to you about bees, so that's what I'm going to do. What do you do when you hear that? You turn off. You've actually got to be able to tell the audience why they need to listen to what you're talking about. The other big thing is reading from notes. How many times have you gone to a presentation where somebody walks in with a pile of notes and they read from them? So their presentation goes something like, hi, I'm so-and-so and I'm going to talk to you about bees today. Now just let me look at my notes. They bring up their notes and they say, now, did you know that bees are under extinction at the moment, and bees are what we need to survive on the planet. So if we need to survive on the planet, we need to know more about bees. And as soon as somebody puts their head down, you lose interest. They're not talking to you, they're reading from their notes or from the PowerPoint slide behind them, just as bad. So any take-homes from this is plan and practice. They're the two things that will get you in front of that camera, in front of your audience, and use some of those skills to tell the world what your message is. So I hope you found this useful, and if you did, please press the like button below, that hands thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel, because then you'll get all the other videos that are coming up soon. So thanks very much. It's been great to talk to you today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.